Welcome to Timberland Farms. My name's Anthony. Beside me here is my 1968 Case 580 CK. Last video we left abruptly. I didn't quite finish the video. Had other things happen in the instance. You guys already saw that, where I got the dump trailer that needed to go out on a job, and then we also need to put our pigs out to pasture. So that's up and running too. So we got the pigs all taken care of, and now we can get back to the backhoe. So off to the other side of me, I have a 22-ton pile of crusher run. So we need to get the backhoe fixed up to move this pile of crusher run. Obviously the backhoe runs just fine the way it is, but I like to have it all set and ready to go. So what we need to do on this today, we got to finish the wiring on the electrical system. I'm going to wire up all the gauges, wire up the key switch, wire up the alternator, and a battery disconnect. I might make a future video of putting the hydraulic cylinders on the power steering system, because the cylinders are leaking. I kind of addressed that in the last video. Well, the cylinders have came in, and I can go ahead and put them in. So they'll be in a future video. So a lot of the issues with the electrical system I've been having, trying to wrap my brain around. I was trying to figure out how to wire up an ammeter and have it proper with the amount of amps that the alternator puts out, because the ammeter only reads about 25 amps and the alternator puts out about 45 amps. It's quite a heavy power push onto that amp meter, and I do not want that much power going through in the gauge cluster set. So to avoid that, I went out and got a voltmeter instead. It tells me pretty similar information. It tells me all the information I need at a glance, so I'm going to opt with a voltmeter. I know it's not what this tractor originally had, but that's what I'm going to put on it, modernize it a little bit. But let's get to it. So right here we have our oil gauge, our amp gauge. We have a couple fuses that I put in place, our temp gauge, our clutch gauge, our fuel gauge, and our tachometer. So in the last video we got the tack wire, tack cable set up. I don't remember if it was a little too long or too short, but we finally got that working. I got the fuel sending unit that is working. It's not hooked up to this yet, as I do not have keyed power to any of these gauges yet, and so we're going to address that today as well. But next on the topic list is we're going to change out this amp gauge for this volt gauge right here. So it looks very similar, but it does not say Case. So that's the only downside to all this. All these gauges say Case on it except for this volt gauge, so that's the only thing I don't really care for, but that tells us plenty of information. I already got the bolts removed. I just slapped this into place, so I just got to pull the sheet metal up. The whole thing just pulls right out. I do have to remove the tack drive cable in order to get this off, so I'll do that here quick. So now we can access it from the back side here. So I believe our amp gauge is right here. I put everything on a quick disconnect for the backlights. So we'll set that off to the side. That wire will stay. I've already started wiring all the backlights. They're all yellow. Pull this bracket off. And our gauge pops out the front. Amperes. And we take the same thing for our volt gauge, put this into place. So with a volt gauge over a amp meter, it is much easier to wire up on the back side here. So you just have a positive and a negative on your terminals here, and that's all you need to any 12 volt power within the system. Now with an amp meter, you have to have your battery power and your load. So you're going to run all your loads through this, and you need to have heavy gauge wire. Like this only goes up to 20 amps. I'm going to be running 45 to 50 amps off the alternator. So I want to have something more robust. This doesn't take any amps. It just detects volts. So go ahead and put this in place. So now we got this all mounted, we could go ahead and put our light bulb back in here and then go ahead and plug in our connector. So our red wire right here, that's going to keyed power. Our brown wire right here, this is going up to our fuel sending unit. Our yellow wire is running for all the keyed power for our dash lights. These are actually going to be for the headlights also. So anything for headlights is going to be yellow. I do have green wire here. I've got to figure out what I'm going to use for green. And I have white. I think I'm going to use white for common ground. I just have this fuse right here, already pre-wired for white, and I'll use this for just about any color that I'm going to need. All right, so I think I got this all complete. this is my key right here. So I have constant power, and I have my ignition, my start, whatever for the starter, and then I have my key to power, which is this red wire. One red wire goes to this green fuse, and the other goes to this white fuse here. I've made these different colors so you guys can see where the fuses are. They're kind of challenging to see. I used to have a yellow one in here. I just went with green. Plus I made the wires too short for that. So then this yellow wire, actually we should follow the fuse here. So we go from the key, power, to the fuse, and then back over the screen, over to my switch, which is underneath the key. That is my light switch. Then that switches to yellow. I have 2 wires for that. So this second wire is going to go up towards the front and the grill for the headlights. So they're going to be on the same switch as my gauge lights. And this goes over to this light, and it daisy chains over to every single gauge to have a backlight on every gauge. Then we can go over to our white wire for our fuse, because we already know this is key power going on the other side. But we have a red power wire going to our voltmeter, and then we have a white ground for the other side of our voltmeter. So then we got our fuel gauge right here. We have our brown wire, which goes up to our fuel sending unit. It's kind of off camera, but this is our fuel sending unit, and then B is for battery. That's going to our white fuse here as well. So this is a fused wire as well as the volt gauge. So this fuse is just for the volt gauge and for the fuel gauge. So now we can put this all in wire loom after we heat shrink all these connections and get this buttoned up and put this back onto the backhoe. Wrap some electrical tape where these 3 connections come out so these stay in place. I get this light wire on the right side of the front of the tractor. We'll run this up to the front of the machine and finagle this guy into place, hopefully without pinching any wires. And I think I broke the oil line. And I did. Alrighty, we got all of our gauges wired up. We got a key switch wired up. And turn that on. Our fuel goes up. And our volts go up. We're reading 12 volts. I can hit this light switch. And all the gauges light up except for this one. This guy here is a little dim, but he lights up too. They're all backlit. I even got a headlight. Let's fire it up, see if we got the alternator charging. So it's a self-exciting alternator, so I have to rev up the engine for the alternator to work. Go. Well, let's get this thing to work. I put most of this pile right here. There's probably 3 scoops left. So I just need to level it out best I can by hand. I did as best I could with the machine. Now I'll go through and try getting all the low spots filled up with the high spots. It's not too terrible. It's definitely doable, but let's get to it. What are you doing, Roo? So excited. I'm gonna go, Roo. Yeah, once we finish up this little rut right here, spread this out a little bit nicer, I'm going to run the plate tamper over this and make this nice and smooth and compacted. Beyond excited to have this project this far. I finally got a hard surface to build off of. This is one of the most important steps of building a structure here is the foundation. And the foundation is all set up. There's a little bit more leveling to do, but that's no big deal. I can do that once the building's up, and then I don't have to worry about weather. It's not really weather dependent. Then I still have an area to work under for other projects, like on our next video. But you'll have to stick around for that. Both of these machines are parked here, not for kicks and giggles, but they both need an oil change, so we're going to get on that right after closing out this video. But I hope to see you at that one. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.